that was intense. Now let's set sail on our vocabulary voyage, exploring the nuanced power of precise word choice. Starting with question 16, the sentence. Jack showed me his ridge of rare books. I was surprised to see the first edition of so many important books among them. Your options: 1, collection; 2%, 3, focus; 4, tendency. Which word paints the clearest picture here?
Okay, this is a fairly direct vocabulary question. The correct word here is option 1, collection. A collection specifically refers to a group of items gathered together, especially those acquired for a hobby, study, or display. Rare books fit this perfectly. The phrase first edition of so many important books reinforces the idea of specially gathered, curated items.
Right, like a stamp collection or art collection.
Exactly. The other options are clearly inappropriate. Percent is a proportion. Focus is a central point. Tendency is an inclination. None describe a compilation of books.
Makes perfect sense. And collection implies more than just a random group, doesn't it? It suggests deliberate gathering, maybe passion, effort. Saying his group of rare books wouldn't convey the same sense of value or intent.
Precisely. It hints at the story behind the objects.
Yeah. It shows how expanding everyday vocabulary lets you describe things with more accuracy and nuance.
Absolutely. So the practical benefit: choosing specific terms like collection over generic ones like group provides richer detail, evokes clearer mental images, makes descriptions more engaging and insightful in daily conversations or written observations.
Question 17 gives us a scenario of proactive planning. Sentence. The best time for a flood is when the sky is clear and your weekend is free. Not when local officials are telling you to seal up windows and head for higher ground. Options: 1, spend; 2, desire; 3, prepare; 4, fight. Which word captures that foresight?
This sentence clearly describes proactive action taken well before an anticipated event. The correct verb is option 3, prepare. To prepare for something means to make arrangements or plans in anticipation of a future event or emergency. The context: flood, sealing windows, higher ground, all point directly to preparation. The contrast between when the sky is clear and the urgent warnings highlights the need for foresight. The other words don't fit. You don't spend for a flood. Desire is wanting something. Fight is action during the flood, but the sentence is about acting before.
That's a perfect explanation. The proactive nature of prepare is key here. Foresight, readiness. You prepare for an exam, prepare a meal, prepare for a meeting, always anticipating future needs and acting now.
Exactly.
The sentence structure beautifully emphasizes this by contrasting the calm time for preparation with the urgent, chaotic time. A powerful word for planning, foresight, readiness in any context.
Indeed. And the listener application. Choosing action verbs that convey foresight and readiness enhances communication in planning or advisory contexts. Using prepare communicates not just action, but a mindset: prudence, strategic thinking, responsibility. Very effective when advising or outlining plans.
Question 18 presents a classic contrast sentence. The challenge is that the job looks but it is really very complex because every detail is important. Options: 1, simple; 2, dangerous; 3, remote; 4, demanding. Which word creates the perfect opposition?
The key here is the conjunction but. It explicitly signals a direct contrast. The second part says the job is really very complex. So the blank needs the antonym, the opposite of complex. That makes option 1 simple, the correct answer. Something looks simple but is complex that sets up the intended tension or challenge.
Right, the but is the clue.
Exactly. The others don't create this opposition. Dangerous isn't the opposite of complex. A job can be both. Remote is about distance. Demanding means requires effort. Complex jobs are often demanding, but it's not the direct opposite like simple is. The phrase "every detail is important" reinforces the complexity, contrasting with an initial appearance of simplicity.
That's great insight into using context clues. Understanding conjunctions like but is fundamental, isn't it? Not just for vocabulary, but for deciphering meaning. The sentence sets up appearance versus reality. This idea of apparent simplicity masking complexity is a common theme in problem-solving, critical thinking, science. Many problems look easy until you begin. Simple perfectly captures that initial, maybe deceptive appearance.
Precisely. So the practical skill for listeners: use contextual clues, especially antonyms signaled by words like but, to quickly find the best vocabulary choice. It improves word selection and overall reading comprehension, helping you grasp nuances more effectively.
Question 19 gives us a specific action with machinery in a serious context. Sentence. A manufacturer has been fined $300,000 for employing children as young as 14 to dangerous machinery and requiring them to work more hours than the law allows. Options: 1, oppose; 2, operate; 3, reward; 4, return.
Okay, the context of dangerous machinery in a child labor scenario points to a very specific action. The correct word is option 2, operate. To operate a machine means to control its functioning, to use it. This action is directly related to the dangerous machinery mentioned. The sentence describes a grave violation centered on using children with hazardous equipment.
A clear connection.
Yes, the others are irrelevant. Oppose means resist. Reward means give recognition. Return means go back or give back. None applied to the functional interaction with machinery implied here.
That's a very precise fit. It reminds me how common verbs like operate rely on surrounding nouns for specific meaning. You can operate a business or operate on a patient, but when paired with machinery, it means controlling that machine.
Collocation is key.
Exactly. Operate machinery is a strong collocation. This shows how context, especially the nouns a verb partners with, guides the precise meaning.
Well said. The practical application. Understanding verb versatility and how surrounding nouns specify meaning enhances your vocabulary. Recognizing these pairings helps you use words more accurately and effectively across different contexts, from technical reports to everyday chat.
Question 20 tackles a common debate about health and cost. Sentence. The idea that it is to eat healthy food and that junk food is cheaper is nonsense. Options. 1, proud. 2, confident. 3, expensive. 4, complete. Which word makes the logical contrast?
This sentence sets up an explicit comparison based on cost. The second part states junk food is cheaper. Therefore, the blank needs its opposite in terms of cost when applied to healthy food. The correct answer is option 3, expensive. The common belief being challenged is that healthy food is too expensive. The phrase is nonsense explicitly refutes this entire premise.
Okay, cheaper versus expensive. Direct contrast.
Exactly. The others don't relate to cost. Proud is about satisfaction. Confident is self-assurance. Complete means having all parts. None create a meaningful contrast with cheaper in this economic context of food choices.
That's really clear. It reminds me how understanding direct comparisons helps, especially when debunking myths. Cheaper in a strong clue, signaling the missing word must relate to cost. The structure is, this idea, healthy food is X, and this idea, junk food is cheaper, is nonsense. For that to work, X must be the opposite of cheaper.
Spot on.
It shows how recognizing implicit comparisons helps choose the most fitting vocabulary, making your own arguments clearer and more precise.
Absolutely. Practical skill. Recognize implicit comparisons to choose the right descriptive words. Attuning to these contrasting elements helps identify the semantic field needed, aids word selection, and enhances comprehension, letting you understand and formulate persuasive arguments better.
Question 21 looks at how ideas are presented and the impact. Sentence. Critics believe that Jackson's complete lack of in presenting his ideas suggests that he is not a serious candidate. Options. 1, distaste. 2, organization. 3, complication. 4, digression. What makes a candidate seem unserious here?
The sentence describes a negative quality in how ideas are presented, undermining seriousness. The correct word is option 2, organization. A lack of organization means ideas aren't structured, coherent, or logical. That's a major drawback for any candidate wanting to be persuasive or credible.
Right. Hard to follow disorganized ideas.
Exactly. Let's look at the others. Distaste is strong dislike, unrelated to presentation method. Complication is difficulty. A lack of complication wouldn't make someone seem unserious. Simplicity is often good. Digression is straying from the topic. While frequent digressions contribute to lack of organization, digression itself isn't the core structural problem described by complete lack of in presenting ideas.
That's a really insightful distinction. It highlights how crucial clear, structured communication is, especially when trying to persuade. Whether you're a candidate, scientist, or business professional, how you structure and present ideas is fundamental to credibility.
Absolutely.
A complete lack of organization suggests chaos, muddled thinking, making it impossible for an audience to follow. That's why critics deem it unserious. It's not just about having good ideas, it's presenting them coherently. Shows the value of structure in conveying credibility.
Couldn't agree more. So the practical takeaway. Understand the value of structure for credibility in speeches, reports, even casual conversation. Consciously organizing your thoughts before expressing them projects competence and thoughtfulness, makes your message more impactful and your audience more receptive, enhances your ability to persuade, inform, influence.
Question 22 delves into requirements for professionals in regulated fields. Sentence. The minimum that should be required of individuals offering investment counsel services to the public have recently been announced. Options. 1, portions. 2, wages. 3, installments. 4, qualifications. Sounds like precise terminology is key here.
It is. The sentence discusses what's required for providing a professional service, investment counsel. The correct word is option 4, qualifications. Qualifications refer precisely to the necessary skills, experiences, or credentials making someone suitable and competent for a role. This is exactly what regulatory bodies announce for professional services.
Makes sense. Minimum qualifications.
Exactly. The others are wrong. Portions are parts of a whole. Wages are payments for work. Installments are regular payments over time. None refer to requirements or credentials for a professional role. The context of minimum.required and investment counsel services clearly points to qualifications as the only appropriate term.
That's a fantastic clarification. It reminds me how crucial specific language is in professional and regulatory contexts. Qualifications isn't just jargon. It's often legally defined to protect the public. Doctors need medical qualifications. Lawyers need legal ones. Investment counselors need defined qualifications.
Standards are essential.
Right. This precise terminology maintains standards, ensures competence, builds public trust. It's about knowing the unambiguous terms for professional standards and conduct.
Well put. And the practical application. Understanding precise terminology and professional standards and regulations helps you grasp broader societal structures. Familiarizing yourself with these terms gives insight into how sectors ensure competence, uphold ethics, maintain accountability. Essential for informed discussion on policy, consumer protection, ethics.
Question 23 takes us into a deeply impactful historical context. Sentence. Slave owners worked their slaves hard, demanded complete from them, and disciplined those who ignored their owners' orders. Options. 1. Exchange. 2. Destiny. 3. Obedience. 4. Dominance. The last part gives a strong clue, right?
It does. The sentence describes demands imposed by slave owners, emphasizing control. Discipline those who ignored their owners' orders points directly to the nature of the demand. The correct word is option 3, obedience. Obedience means compliance with an order or submission to authority, exactly what slave owners demanded.
Okay, demanded obedience.
Precisely. Let's look at the others. Exchange means giving and receiving. Irrelevant here. Destiny is a predetermined course, unrelated to demanded behavior. Dominance is power over others. While owners exerted dominance, that describes what they possessed, not what they demanded from the enslaved. What was demanded from them was obedience.
That's a chillingly precise breakdown. It reminds me of the profound historical connotations of obedience in contexts of stark power dynamics. It's not just following rules, it implies complete submission of will, often under duress.
A reflection of power structures.
Absolutely. The word itself reflects a brutal power structure where one party had absolute authority, demanding compliance without dissent. Shows how vocabulary reflects social hierarchies and historical relationships, offering insight into power, control, subjugation.
Indeed. So the practical application. Recognizing the power of specific words like obedience in historical context deepens your understanding of complex narratives. Appreciating these precise, often loaded connotations provides a more profound grasp of lived experiences, power imbalances, societal structures, fosters a more nuanced, critical, empathetic interpretation of the past.
Question 24 is about describing common household damage. Sentence. The hardwood floors in our house are badly in several places because my children pushed and pulled the heavy furniture as they were playing. Options. 1. Paved. 2. Scratched. 3. Constructed. 4. Evaporated. What does heavy furniture usually do to floors?
This describes damage caused by dragging heavy furniture. The action pushed and pulled heavy furniture directly leads to the damage described by option 2, scratched. Scratched means marked with a sharp or rough object, exactly the kind of damage heavy furniture leaves on hardwood.
Yeah, pretty clear cause and effect.
Definitely. The others are irrelevant. Paved is for roads or patios. Constructed is how floors are built, not damaged. Evaporated is liquid turning to vapor. Very direct connection here between cause, dragging furniture, and effect, scratches.
That's straightforward. It reminds me how important it is to connect specific actions to direct consequences. Makes descriptions vivid. We all know what dragging furniture does, leave scratches. But surfaces can also be dented, chipped, or scuffed.
Different types of damage.
Right.
Yeah.
Choosing the precise verb accurately describes the damage, makes observations more effective, whether explaining to a repair person or describing a scene.
Exactly. Practical takeaway. Choose precise verbs for damage and where to enhance accuracy. Using the right verb eliminates ambiguity, presents a clear picture. Invaluable in practical reporting, like insurance claims and creative storytelling, ensuring the audience understands the exact details.
Question 25 takes us into international relations and national security. Sentence. If the territorial of this country is threatened, we will certainly use all the means at our disposal to protect it. Options: 1, integrity; 2, dispute; 3, commonplace; 4, shelter. Feels like very formal geopolitical language.
It is. The sentence is about protecting a country when its territorial aspect is threatened, requiring a strong response. The correct word is option 1, integrity. Territorial integrity is a key diplomatic and legal term. It refers to a state's right to maintain its borders and sovereignty without external interference. Basically, the country's land and control over it remain complete.
Territorial integrity, a cornerstone phrase.
Absolutely. Let's look at the others. Dispute is disagreement. While territorial disputes exist, the sentence is about protecting the existing state, not the dispute itself. Commonplace means usual, nonsensical here. Shelter is refuge. While a country offers shelter, it's not territorial shelter that's threatened in this geopolitical sense. The phrase "use all means to protect it" reinforces defending sovereignty and borders, making integrity the precise fit.
That's a really important distinction, especially today. Territorial integrity isn't just a fancy phrase. It carries immense weight in international law, fundamental to national security. When it's threatened, it challenges a country's existence, sovereignty, self-governance.
That's big.
Exactly. Often leads to serious diplomatic or military responses. Understanding this term is crucial for comprehending global events, border conflicts, international law discussions.
Definitely. And the practical application. Understanding key political diplomatic terms like territorial integrity improves comprehension of global events. Knowing these terms lets you cut through jargon, grasp fundamental issues and stakes, enables engagement with news, analysis, policy discussions on a deeper, more informed level, critical in our interconnected world.
Question 26 offers relatable advice on managing minor disagreements. Sentence: don't let a matter like applesauce grow a millimeter larger than it has to. Be diplomatic and ask your father to order both varieties. Options: 1, trifling; 2, detailed; 3, disinterested; 4, unconcerned. What kind of matter is this?
The advice, "don't let it grow, be diplomatic," strongly suggests the issue itself is small, unimportant. The correct word is option 1, trifling. Trifling means insignificant, unimportant, trivial. The example, applesauce, emphasizes the minor nature. The message is, prevent a small issue from becoming a big problem.
Trifling, like trivial.
Yes. Let's check the others. Detailed means having many details. Doesn't imply lack of importance. Disinterested means impartial. Describes a perspective, not the matter's importance. Unconcerned means not worried. Describes an attitude, not the issue's nature. Only trifling captures the idea of minor importance that could escalate disproportionately.
That's a fantastic distinction. It reminds me of the wisdom in managing small issues before they snowball. Don't let it grow a millimeter larger evokes making a mountain out of a molehill.
Common idiom, yes.
Choosing trifling perfectly frames the issue as minor, underscoring the importance of diplomacy even for insignificant things. A reminder that big arguments often start small. Using precise words like trifling helps identify their true scale and prevent escalation.
Exactly. Practical application. Choose words accurately describing the scale and importance of issues, especially in conflict resolution. Articulating the minor nature with words like trifling helps de-escalate tensions, guide discussions toward pragmatic solutions, prevent small disagreements from becoming major conflicts.
Question 27 explores a nuanced, often contradictory emotion. Sentence: though not many citizens would openly sympathize with their motives or methods, the courage of the rebels has won admiration at all levels in Britain. Options: 1, protruding; 2, sordid; 3, invisible; 4, sneaking. This isn't simple admiration, is it?
No, it describes admiration that exists despite a lack of open sympathy. The correct word is option 4, sneaking. Sneaking admiration refers to secret, surreptitious, private admiration felt internally, even if outwardly disapproved or unacknowledged. It captures the nuance of appreciating courage while not condoning motives or methods.
Sneaking admiration, like a hidden feeling.
Precisely. Let's dismiss the others. Protruding means sticking out, a physical description. Sordid means arranged or dealt with. Invisible means unable to be seen, implying no admiration exists, contradicting the sentence. Only sneaking conveys the clandestine, perhaps grudging, unacknowledged respect.
That's a brilliant insight into complex emotions. Sneaking admiration is like a guilty pleasure. You feel it secretly, maybe begrudgingly, even if norms say you shouldn't. It paints a vivid picture of human complexity, feelings rarely black and white. This choice enriches descriptive vocabulary, capturing intricate emotional states, hidden opinions, helps articulate the subtle paradoxes in human sentiment and societal dynamics.
Well said. Practical takeaway. Enrich your vocabulary for complex emotional states. Using precise adjectives like sneaking lets you articulate subtle tensions, internal conflicts, unexpressed sentiments underpinning public opinion. Fosters a more nuanced, empathetic interpretation of human behavior and reactions.
Question 28 describes a persistent urban problem. Sentence. The age of the automobile and the truck have put this historic crossroads city between east and west into an almost traffic jam. Options: 1, retrospective; 2, submissive; 3, permanent; 4, pedantic. What kind of traffic jam is this?
The sentence describes a traffic jam as a long-standing, seemingly unending problem. The word conveying this lastingness is option 3, permanent. An almost permanent traffic jam implies a continuous, relentless situation with little sign of resolution.
Almost permanent. Feels constant.
Yes. Let's check the others. Retrospective is looking back. Submissive is obedient. Pedantic is overly concerned with minor details. None relate to the duration or nature of a traffic jam. Only permanent captures the enduring, seemingly intractable nature of the congestion.
That's a perfect fit for a seemingly unsolvable problem. It reminds me of urban planning challenges, how infrastructure changes can lead to intractable issues. A permanent traffic jam isn't literally forever, but evokes chronic, persistent congestion defining city life.
A powerful descriptor.
Definitely. Potent for long-term conditions, especially in discussions about urban development or societal issues. While chronic also works, permanent leans more into the inescapable reality, highlighting the severity.
Right. Practical application. Use precise descriptors for long-term problems. Words like permanent convey gravity and enduring nature, compelling deeper consideration of systemic factors. Prompts search for long-term solutions, leading to more meaningful discourse and policy.
Question 29 addresses a misstep in policymaking. Sentence. After they, into a new policy without thinking it through, the UN officials tried to rationalize it in vain. Options. 1, apprehended; 2, burgeoned; 3, exacerbated; 4, blundered. Without thinking it through is a huge clue.
It is. The key cues are without thinking it through and the failed attempt to rationalize it in vain. This describes making a significant mistake due to lack of foresight or planning. The correct word is option 4, blundered. To blunder into something means to make a significant, clumsy, or foolish mistake by acting carelessly or thoughtlessly.
Blundered into it, like stumbled into it mistakenly.
Exactly. Let's check the others. Apprehended means arrested or understood. Burgeoned means grew rapidly. Exacerbated means made worse. While a blundered policy could exacerbate a problem, exacerbated describes the effect, not the initial mistake of adopting the policy. Blundered into precisely conveys that initial error of judgment.
That's a very precise way to describe that kind of mistake. It highlights the importance of careful planning and policymaking and the consequences of acting without due consideration. Blundered into a policy evokes misjudgment, ill preparation, maybe recklessness. This word choice accurately describes errors in judgment, especially in professional contexts. Emphasizing accountability highlights the contrast between thoughtful deliberation and impulsive implementation.
Well said. Practical application. Choose verbs accurately describing errors in judgment. Precise terms like blundered convey the gravity and cost of mistakes clearly, underscores importance of due diligence, foresight, fostering a culture of accountability and prudent decision-making.
Question 30 focuses on expressing public reaction to policy change. Sentence. As Australian officials plan to cut Medicare by at least $250 billion as part of their proposal to balance the budget by the year 2024, social activists in healthcare alarm. Options. 1, registered; 2, documented; 3, validated; 4, inscribed. Which word naturally pairs with alarm?
This is a classic test of collocation's words that naturally go together. The correct word is option 1, registered. To register alarm is a common idiom meaning to show, express, or officially record concern or alarm. It fits perfectly how activists would react to a significant policy proposal like cutting Medicare.
Register alarm, a set phrase.
Yes. Let's look at the others. Documented means recorded objectively. Activists might document their alarm, but documented alarm isn't the phrase for expressing it. Validated means confirmed accuracy. Inscribed means written formally on a surface. None form the correct idiom. Registered alarm is the established phrase for expressing concern.
That's a great example of how crucial collocations are for sounding fluent. You don't make alarm or take alarm, it's register alarm. These fixed pairings make English sound natural, authoritative.
Like a native speaker.
Exactly. Think of other register collocations. Register approval, register a complaint, register for a course. Mastering these is key to sounding natural, especially when discussing public reactions or sentiment.
Absolutely. Practical takeaway. Improve idiomatic English to sound more natural and authoritative. Using appropriate collocations avoids awkward phrasing, conveys linguistic competence and sophistication, makes your message more persuasive, insights more respected, communication more impactful.
Question 31 describes a personality trait contributing to a bold decision. Sentence. Her stubborn may be one reason for her entrance into the New York City Marathon. Not everyone believes it's wise for her to run so soon after that terrible accident. Options: 1, strike 2, streak 3, strike 4, staple. Which word completes this idiom about personality?
This asks for a word that, combined with stubborn, describes a distinct, persistent characteristic. The correct word is option 2, streak. A stubborn streak refers to a particular quality or tendency in someone's character, often one that stands out. Here, it explains her determination despite adversity.
A stubborn streak, like a line of stubbornness in her character.
Exactly. Let's dismiss the others. Strike is a blow or industrial action. Stripe is a line on fabric or an animal. Staple is a basic element or a metal fastener. None describe a personality trait. Streak is specifically used idiomatically with adjectives for aspects of character.
That's a really precise choice. It reminds me how specific nouns describe personality traits. We talk about a mean streak, competitive streak, stubborn streak. It's not just that she is stubborn. Streak implies a facet of her personality driving her actions, especially against doubt.
A defining characteristic.
Yeah. This word choice expands vocabulary for describing personality with more precision and nuance, offering deeper insight into motivations and behaviors.
Well put. Practical application. Expand vocabulary for personality traits. Using terms like streak lets you accurately capture subtle, sometimes contradictory aspects of character, fosters deeper insights into motivations, decision-making, emotions, both in yourself and others.
Question 32 moves into legal and administrative language about discretion or flexibility. Sentence. In many cases, the statute does not say precisely what agencies should do, giving them considerable interpreting the law and developing regulations. Options: 1, latitude; 2, remuneration; 3, blandishment; 4, conflation. What freedom are these agencies given?
This describes the freedom or scope of action granted when a law isn't precise. The correct word is option 1, latitude. Latitude here means freedom to choose or act within bounds, especially in interpreting rules or laws. It fits perfectly the idea that an imprecise statute grants agencies discretionary power.
Latitude, like room to maneuver.
Exactly. Let's check the others. Remuneration is payment. Blandishment is flattery used to persuade. Conflation is merging ideas. None convey freedom to interpret and act within a framework. Only latitude captures that essential idea.
That's a fascinating and precise term. It highlights the concept of administrative discretion in law. When legislation is vague, it often grants latitude flexibility to implementing bodies.
A key concept in governance.
Absolutely. Vital for understanding how laws are applied practically and policy developed. Signals there isn't always a strict rule, allowing nuanced application. Valuable for understanding legal administrative terms, interpretation, policy development, exercise of power.
Indeed. Practical takeaway. Understand legal administrative terminology like latitude to sharpen critical analysis of how power functions. Recognizing where discretion exists leads to more informed understanding of regulatory processes, appreciating potential for both good and problematic applications of authority.
Question 33 presents a sophisticated word for the early, undeveloped stages of something, especially in political analysis. Sentence. Political analysts said that it reflected the nature of this rebellion. That is, it was not a well-formed coup, but a protest without a plan or internal organization. Options: 1, facetious; 2, inchoate; 3, peremptory; 4, panegyric. This sentence defines the word for us, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. A gift. It describes the rebellion as not a well-formed coup, but a protest without a plan or internal organization. This is the exact definition of option 2, inchoate. Inchoate means in an initial stage, not fully formed or developed, rudimentary, perfectly captures the unorganized embryonic nature described.
Inchoate, not fully formed.
Exactly. Let's look at the others. Facetious is joking inappropriately. Peremptory is insisting on immediate obedience, bossy. Panegyric is a speech of praise. None describes something not yet well-formed or lacking structure. The sentence gives the meaning of inchoate directly.
That's a great example of context providing the answer. It highlights the precision of academic vocabulary. Inchoate is powerful, encapsulating a complex idea, a movement lacking structure or direction in one precise term.
Very efficient.
Allows analysts to convey nuanced understanding concisely. Learning sophisticated vocabulary like this helps describe developmental stages of ideas or movements, enhancing analytical capabilities and making descriptions impactful.
Precisely. Practical application. Learn sophisticated vocabulary for developmental stages. Using potent terms like inchoate lets you articulate complex observations with greater accuracy, nuance, authority. Invaluable in academic discourse, strategic planning, journalism, political commentary. Master the art of precise description.
Question 34 brings us into psychology and common mental patterns. Sentence. If you stay up late at night, you may fall into a loop of repetitive, intrusive thoughts with no satisfactory outcome. Options. 1. Circumlocution. 2. Insomnia. 3. Rumination. 4. Debacle. Again, the definition is right there.
Yes, another gift. The sentence defines the blank. Repetitive, intrusive thoughts with no satisfactory outcome. This is the exact definition of option 3, rumination. In psychology, rumination refers to that continuous, often obsessive, negative stream of thoughts, hard to disengage from, typically leading nowhere productive, a loop of negative thinking.
Rumination, going over and over things unproductively.
Exactly. But check the others. Circumlocution is using too many words, being evasive. Insomnia is inability to sleep, a result of rumination perhaps, but not the thought process itself. Debacle is a fiasco, a collapse. None describe that mental loop. Context is about the cognitive process.
That's really clear. It reminds me how vital it is to understand precise psychological terms. Rumination isn't just worrying. It's different from healthy reflection. Rumination is repetitive, intrusive, unproductive.
Key distinction.
This word choice expands vocabulary for accurately describing mental states, useful in self-reflection, understanding others, discussing mental health with clarity.
Absolutely. Practical takeaway.
Yeah.
Expand vocabulary for mental states. Using precise terms like rumination gives a clearer framework for recognizing and discussing internal experiences. Fosters deeper self-awareness, more empathetic communication, nuanced understanding of the mind's complexities.
And our final question, number 35. Tests critical thinking vocabulary in a historical context, how new evidence affects claims. Sentence. His account of the Siege of Jericho is completely by his apparent ignorance of the British excavations of a decade ago, which proved that the so-called walls of Jericho are actually 1,000 years older than the time of Joshua. Options. 1. Corroborated. 2. Stratified. 3. Exculpated. 4. Vitiated. A powerful word for undermining an account.
It is. The sentence describes how new archaeological evidence undermines the credibility of a historical account. The excavations proved facts contradicting the account. The correct word is option 4, vitiated. To vitiate something means to impair its quality, make it faulty, corrupt it, render it less effective or valid. Here, the new evidence vitiates its account by destroying its credibility.
Vitiated,
Right.
like invalidated or spoiled.
Exactly. Let's check the others. Corroborated, 1, means confirmed or supported the opposite of what the evidence does. Stratified, 2, means arranged in layers, used in geology or sociology. Exculpated, 3, means cleared of guilt, irrelevant to factual validity. The context clearly points to the account being rendered faulty or invalid.
That's a profound explanation of how evidence dismantles an argument. It highlights the critical thinking process evaluating claims against new evidence. When evidence proves a premise false, it doesn't just challenge, it vitiates it, renders it flawed, invalid.
Strong academic term.
Definitely. Carries precise legal and academic implications, used when an argument's integrity is destroyed by contradictory information. Vital for developing precise vocabulary for discussing strength or weakness of arguments and evidence. Crucial for critical analysis in any field: history, science, law.
Couldn't agree more. Practical application. Develop precise vocabulary for evaluating arguments, like vitiated, to sharpen critical analysis. Having these terms lets you articulate nuanced evaluations of information. Dissect complex claims with precision, demonstrating understanding of logical validity in evidence. Invaluable for navigating information, discerning truth from falsehood. Hashtag outro.
Wow, what an incredible journey we've just completed. Through the intricate landscape of English grammar and the vast ocean of its vocabulary, we've taken those 35 individual challenges and, through a really deep dive, turned them into 35 opportunities for, well, profound understanding and insight.
Indeed, it has been quite the exploration. What truly stands out, I think, is just how fundamentally each tiny choice, a preposition, a verb form, a specific adjective, can dramatically alter the meaning and impact of what we say or write. It's a powerful testament to the strength and precision of language when used thoughtfully. This wasn't just about getting answers right, was it? It was about grasping the underlying logic, the very architecture holding our communication together, from, the elegance of a participle clause to the nuance of a phrasal verb or an idiom. Every piece plays a vital role.
Absolutely. And that's the real takeaway here. This isn't just about acing a quiz. It's fundamentally about empowering you, our listener, to communicate with much greater clarity, confidence, and yes, charisma in every aspect of your life, from academic papers to everyday chats. These subtle distinctions, once understood, unlock a new level of linguistic mastery. Allows you to say exactly what you mean and understand exactly what others mean. It really transforms the game for effective communication.
And if we connect this to the broader picture, it raises an important question, doesn't it, for each of you listening? How might this newfound precision in language not only enhance your personal expression, but also sharpen your critical thinking? How might it help you better analyze and interpret the, frankly, overwhelming amount of information we encounter daily? What other linguistic puzzles are you now ready to deep dive into? And how might understanding these small nuances fundamentally change the way you perceive the world? Or maybe even just how you write your next email? Something to think about.